Welcome to Think and Grow Rich. I'm really excited that you are going to get a chance to be exposed to what most people in this field feel is the Bible of success. This is the starting point for so many large success stories and fortunes. It's hard to describe. Lots of people who are very successful have attributed this book and this author, Napoleon Hill, to being the foundation of their success. And now we are going to walk through that, and you're in for a treat. This is going to be a great time. If you've been through it before, you will find things each time you go through that you didn't realize were there before. If this is your first time, you are the luckiest person in the world. You're going to have a great time. So let's move on. Okay. The essence of the book is the idea of modeling. Many of you have probably heard of Tony Robbins. He is famous for a phrase called success leaves clues. And what this really is the Napoleon Hill concept. Napoleon Hill really created the concept. Back in the early 20th century, he was sort of intrigued by the idea of success, and he wondered if successful people were just smarter, maybe more talented. What was it about some people that caused them to succeed and others just were mediocre or a failure? And so he got the idea that he would want to investigate that. So he approached the richest man in the world at the time, Andrew Carnegie, and basically convinced him to give him an intro to all of the greatest, wealthiest, most successful people of that time frame. And he ended up interviewing over 500 people who were the who's who of who's a mover and shaker in that world. And so after interviewing hundreds of these very, very successful people, he was able to identify a true success formula, sort of the holy grail of what everybody was trying for. How do you succeed? And what he discovered was it was not luck. It was not talent. It was not intelligence, but rather it was things that you can learn and things that you can do, and they were identifiable. So that was a big deal. The basic concept behind it all is that thoughts are things. What goes on in your head is the most important, the conversation going on in your head is the most important thing to determine whether or not you're going to succeed in the future. So success is sort of an inside game. In order to be successful, you're going to have desire. And we're going to have a whole section on this here in a minute. But you have to really want it. The people he interviewed were obsessive about making it. If, when I teach classes, I invariably will start off almost every class with, how many of you want to get rich? And all kinds of hands go up. But do they really? Do you really? Now, on the surface, you do. Everybody sort of says that. But are they willing to pay the price to get what they want? If they really understood the price, would they do it? Do they obsess over it? I always give the example of the OCD. Everybody thinks obsessive compulsive disorder is a bad thing. What you discover when you study success is that it's actually almost not a bad thing. It's almost a requirement. The people who really make it tend to be very obsessive about it. And they're very, in addition to obsessive, and they want it really bad, they won't take no for an answer. They never quit. They're persistent. It's again a success characteristic. So both of these things kind of are pervasive behind all of the work of Napoleon Hill. Now, a lot of people think success is some big secret. Well, gee, you're hoping that Napoleon Hill or you're hoping that Dr. Shallow here, that I will give you some magical secret to success. And this is a little bit of a theme in a lot of my work that I do, is that my contention is there is no secret to success. We might put it in a headline because I know it attracts people. But in reality, there is no secret. You already know what it takes to be successful. In the world of finance, when I talk about financial planning, let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard that you're supposed to save 10% of your income? I'll bet you have. I'll bet you have. Yet, why don't you do it? Successful people save 10% of their income, yet most people don't. Why is that? In the context of this book, look at all the items on the left-hand side. These are characteristics. If you just close your eyes and visualize a successful person, let's look at these two extremes. Someone you know that is lazy. Are they likely to be successful or more likely to be unsuccessful? And guess what? I'll bet you if we ask for a show of hands, everybody says lazy people are unsuccessful. Well, what's the opposite of that? Hardworking people. They, compared to a lazy person, are more likely to be successful. Now, that doesn't mean just by working hard you'll be successful. It just means you're more likely. It tends to be a trait. Successful people are more hardworking. Unsuccessful, unfriendly, hates everybody, gets into fights, difficult to be in a room with, always causing trouble. Success trait? I don't think so. Probably an unsuccessful. How about somebody who's friendly, has lots of friends, easy to get along with, enjoyable to be around? Again, now, are all friendly people successful? No. But is it a trait that is more likely than being unfriendly to being successful? I think so. Poorly dressed, dressing well. Yeah, dichotomy. Yeah, successful probably dresses better. Nobody likes them, dislike, or no one likes them, versus somebody who's likable. And again, that's a little bit different than being friendly, but likable people tend to be more successful. Again, there are exceptions to this, but we're talking about the whole package. Somebody doesn't know what's going on in the world, uninformed, had no idea who the president of the United States is, versus somebody who keeps up on what current events, what's going on, educated, more likely to be able to have a good conversation because they know what's going on. Tends to be successful. Obvious dishonest versus honest. Honesty is going to tend to be more desirable characteristic. Unpleasant to be around, pleasant to be around. Again, you can sort of see that you already know when you can identify all the traits necessary, and we could keep this list going for a long time. You already know. Now, that doesn't mean you do it, though. So that's the thing. How do we know what to do inherently as human beings? You know what it takes to be successful. The thing we're going to explore in the book is how do I get myself to do the things that I know I'm supposed to do to be successful. That's kind of what it's all about. Now, when Napoleon Hill did his study at the end of it, he broke it down and he came up with 13 different characteristics or traits that very successful, and this doesn't necessarily mean just money, although many of these people were filthy rich. It's successful in all areas of life. These 13 steps or 13 characteristics were all things that most of these people had going for them. Now, the remainder of his book kind of takes each chapter or each of these 13 things and turns it into a chapter and goes into the nuts and bolts of what it is and then kind of how to bring those traits out in yourself. That's what the remainder of this course is really going to be about. First one, and again, almost universal in his interview process. They had great desire. Now I'm going to hit these just really briefly, and then we're going to actually move on into each individual module. But successful people tend to have a lot of desire. They really want what they want. 2, they have faith. They believe they're going to get it. They believe in auto-suggestion. They sort of, this is going to sound a little odd, they talk to themselves. They're continually talking to themselves, pumping themselves up about how much they believe that they're going to get what they really want. They all tended to be really good at something, specialized knowledge. They had something they are the best at. You can too, and we'll show you how. They're creative. They have imagination. They think outside the box. Think Elon Musk. He's way out there, believe in every possible way. Organized. They tend to be planners. Not just planners. They're going to be doing stuff too, but they are organized. Once they have what they want, they set up a plan to go achieve it. They're decisive. They can make decisions. They're not wishy-washy. They don't suffer from paralysis of analysis. They, as I've already mentioned, they're very persistent. They keep at it. They don't take a failure, doesn't stop them. They're not afraid of failure. They have a mastermind group. They surround themselves with other like-minded people that are going to help them accomplish their goals. They avoid people who are going to be negative drags on them. Sex transmutation. I chuckle every time I see this one. This one can't even summarize quickly. We will talk about when we get to the chapter. This is worth the price of admission. You don't want to go through this one on your own. It's dangerous. And no, sex transmutation isn't going to have to do with your gender identification. So again, we'll cover that when the time comes. You'll enjoy it. It'll be fun. 11 is the subconscious mind. Successful people really know how to work with their subconscious, not just the conscious portion of their mind, but they know how to fully utilize the power of their subconscious. And they're thinkers. 12, brain power. They know how to it doesn't mean they're the smartest people in the room, but they know how to get the most out of what they have and how to assemble with, all these things are kind of linked. They know how to assemble brilliance into their group to accomplish what they want. And then finally, they have some sort of a intuition. They have a sense of what it takes to succeed. They have judgment that helps them do all these things. It puts it all together in a way that is effective. They know how to get results. So that's kind of the setup for what is the rest of the course is really taking each of these and going into the deeper layers behind how and what you need to be looking for is how do you sort of develop these traits in yourself. Now you want to take each of these traits and kind of build your continuing education program for yourself or your self-improvement program around these items. All of you probably have some of these you're better at than others. And what you want to do is take your strengths and make them better. And the areas you're weakest at, you want to develop those. And so this will help you identify and then develop a strategy to put it all together. And that's really what it takes to be successful. So with that said, we're going to move on. Thanks.